Let's bring in Carson Palmer, the former NFL quarterback, of course, Heisman Trophy winner at USC. Uh, can you explain the Kansas City Chiefs? Like, what is the philosophy do you think they have going into these games, including what happened against the Chargers?
Well, when you look at the sheer size of that defense, that's how they're built. They are built to be in a shootout week in and week out. I mean, just look at Tyrann Mathieu, who's one of the better safeties in the league. He's all 175 pounds, dripping wet. You look at that linebacker core; they are built for speed. Now you got Chris Jones and some pass rushers up front, but they have designed and built that defense to run around and defend the pass. They're not going to get many games where they have to stop the run, where the opposing offense is going to carry the ball 40 times a game because they're assuming their offense is going to be up some points.
You could have Tyreek Hill or Travis Kelsey as a quarterback. Who do you want?
I'd take Kelsey just because at the end of the day, what's most important is moving the chains. And anytime they get in third down, Kelsey's an automatic chain mover.
I brought this up a couple of times. I'm watching last night with Rodgers against the Niners. There's 37 seconds left. And I didn't know if that was enough time because I thought, okay, San Francisco's either going to put pressure on Rodgers or they're going to make sure Davante Adams doesn't beat them. They did neither. How is that possible, Carson?
Aaron's that good. I mean, as much heat as he takes and the drama that comes and surrounds him, it seems every offseason, he is that good. I mean, the ball he threw late over the middle to Davante, where he just had enough touch on it over the outstretched fingers of the defender's hand. I mean, that ball is one of one. There aren't many other quarterbacks, if any quarterbacks in the league, that can make that pass.
Okay, but Davante Adams is his go-to guy. What kind of defense was San Francisco trying to play there?
Well, they were in zone. And early in the game, you saw them in man. And anytime they get in man and Davante's on the outside, they throw the ball over the top. They throw the ball to his back shoulder. I mean, he caught 3 or 4 back shoulder balls in that game. But they also threw 3 or 4 long, incomplete go balls over the top that they didn't complete. So as a corner, you just don't know what to do. You don't know if it's coming quick on your back shoulder. You don't know if he's airing it out and throwing it down the field. And they do just enough of both to where as a defender, you have to be ready for that long ball and you got to try to react to that back shoulder throw.
Yeah, but how about I double cover Davante Adams? Right? Anybody else can beat me. If they do, congratulations. I can't let your best player beat me.
Yeah, but Davante's so smart. Davante's in the slot. Davante's in short motions. He's the single receiver on a 3-by-1 formation. I mean, he's so good in that system and knows that system so well that LaFleur does a great job of moving him around where you can't always double a guy. Now, if a guy's playing only backside or weak side receiver, you can double him because you know where he's going to be. You don't know where Davante's going.
Do you know Rodgers at all?
Yes.
What can you tell us? Like, how would you describe him?
As just a guy, as a dude?
Yeah, well, I mean, you're watching him as a quarterback to a quarterback. Like, what is it that makes him so special? And then I want to ask you about him off the field.
Oh, I think he's the worst thing for a young quarterback like Mac Jones or some of these guys that come into the league because you can't watch him. He will kill your confidence. You will watch him on film and see him do things and go, man, I know I can't do that. Do I have to be able to do that and throw that ball to be successful in this league? So the first thing I do with these young quarterbacks is say, watch as much film as you can. Do not watch any Green Bay film.
That's awesome. I've never heard that analysis because everybody wants to try to replicate, the best. And you would just say, look, remove that guy, and then you can try to emulate some of these other guys.
Watch as much film as you can. You shouldn't be watching ESPN or the Dan Patrick Show. You should be watching film and film and film. Just don't ever watch Green Bay film, especially from a fundamental and technique standpoint. I mean, he does so many things you're coached not to do as a young kid, as far as, stepping into throws, being on balance, staying on platform. He throws so many balls off his back foot that he just flicks. And it's a confidence killer for a young quarterback.
What's he like off the field?
He's awesome. I love him. I play golf with him a bunch. I've been around him a bunch. He's very guarded. He needs to be very guarded. He's one of the most polarizing figures in probably all of sports, but To people that call him friends, everybody loves him.
Yeah, I always tell people that, I played golf with him a couple of times and have been around him, and I've felt the sense of humor that he has. Like, he can jab you, and it's like a boxer. He'll kind of hit and then he'll back up a little bit, but he's not for everybody. Would you say that that's true?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, he's extremely guarded. So if you're on the outside, you're on the outside. But he's funny, he's quick witted, he's got way more interest than just football or sports. He's into a lot of different things. But like I said, I mean, to the guys that know him and guys that have been close and spent time with him, I don't know anybody that doesn't love him.
He's Carson Palmer, joining us on the program, former NFL quarterback, Heisman Trophy winner at USC. I was wondering about Sean McVay's role now with Matthew Stafford and how that's different for a head coach during a game with Stafford as opposed to Jared Goff.
I really don't think it's that far off. They've come out and been so explosive and really just pretty. I mean, everything they do, it's pretty to watch.
But play calling, though, Carson, it felt like he was always in Jared Goff's ear, or we were given that impression?
I don't think so. I think you saw that early with Jared Goff because those were really Jared Goff's first couple of years in the league. Matt's got a lot more years. I think Matt moves a little better than Jared, but they're really similar, style quarterbacks. I thought, Jared got a bad rap, but I thought Jared could flat out spin it. I mean, he really threw the ball well. Stafford throws it a little bit better. Stafford has way more experience. He's been in a lot more seasons, a lot more games. But at the end of the day, Stafford's older. I think Goff's got a longer runway. He's going to probably play 3, 4, 5 more years after Stafford retires. And that was a lot to give up for a very similar style skill set player. But I think you're seeing it with Matt. I mean, Matt moves a little bit better. He's a little bit quicker. He does a better job getting outside the pocket than Jared did. But still, I mean, like I said, I thought Jared got a bad rap and took a lot of heat for what went down in LA. But I think Jared can flat throw it.
Would you rather face Myles Garrett or Aaron Donald?
Ooh. I would rather face Myles Garrett because at least you can step up in the pocket when he wins on the outside rush. But I played against Aaron twice a year for a long time when I was in Arizona, and he wreaks havoc inside the pocket. And I thought that was kind of that's the thing that you've seen Brady struggle with. I was thinking the Rams were going to end up winning yesterday because when Brady's had a difficult time, back to the Super Bowls against the Giants, and some of the situations he's been in where when he doesn't have a pocket to step up into, he's not going to beat you with his legs. Everybody knows that. But when he can't step up and accurately deliver the ball because he's stepping into throws and transferring his weight into throws, he's going to have a tough time beating you like he did yesterday against the Rams.
Yeah, I agree with you that Aaron Donald is so valuable just from that perspective of they line him up at different places, but that pressure up the middle, there aren't many guys who can do it. They can give you pressure, but they can't get to the quarterback. Like Haloti Ngata and some of those guys, like they put pressure, but they're not necessarily getting to you. Aaron Donald is a unicorn. Did you face anybody who was similar to Aaron Donald, aside from Aaron Donald?
No, but I think it was one of our first games in Arizona back when the Rams were in St. Louis. We were, I think it was a division clinching game in St. Louis. It was really odd. The stadium was quiet. There was nobody there. There was really bad lighting in that stadium. And I got back to the huddle, and one of my good buddies, Lyle Sindeline, was the center. And Aaron had just come on the scene. He was just drafted. And I think we're up a couple scores. It's the end of the fourth quarter. And we had heard of this Aaron Donald guy, but he wasn't a top 2 or 3 pick. So there wasn't a lot of film on him. There wasn't a lot of talk about him. But I got back in the huddle and I started calling play, and Lyle looked up to me and said, "Don't call it. Don't call it." I'm like, "Why?" He goes, "I can't even see the guy, let alone block him." I'm like, "Who are you talking about? 99. Don't call that inside zone play. I can't block him." And that was my first, Aaron's welcome to welcome to the NFL moment. Because then I went back and watched the film, and we didn't hardly block him at all. And nothing's changed since that, game 6, 7, 8 years ago.
Okay, so how do you react when your center says, "Don't call that, I can't block the guy"?
I called an outside screen. I changed the play.
Did Donald get you that game?
He got me plenty of times that game. He's a I mean, he is an absolute problem. And now that was back before everybody knew, how good he was. That was back when he was getting a lot of one-on-ones, single blocks. Now entire game plans are built around him, so he's hardly one-on-one with anybody.
Can you hear an outside rusher going by you, or do you just sense it?
No, it's something you just sense. I mean, it's kind of a sixth sense thing. You've been in that moment so many times and practiced that moment so many times. It's so loud in there, and then you've probably got a coach still yelling something in your ear, and all that's going on around you. You just got to feel it and sense it.
Who's the best outside guy you faced?
Man, when I was young and came in the league, Strahan was a problem. I mean, he was so big, he was so physical and long. And that's the thing about Strahan too, is he would bull rush you from the outside, and he had Justin Tuck and some other guys inside of him. So he was one-on-one, and he wouldn't necessarily beat you with speed around the pocket, but he would collapse the tackle into your lap. So kind of like Aaron Donald, he would shrink the size of the pocket just with a bull rush on the outside edge.
What do you see when you see Justin Herbert?
I watched the Ram game or the Charger game, and I also watched who was the other game right before him? Oh, it was the Justin Fields game in Chicago. And the two differences I noticed, and aside from Justin Herbert being a physical specimen, I mean, he is just bigger, quicker, and has an absolute hose. But the way they protect him with the play calling was so different than what was going on in Chicago. You very rarely saw Justin Herbert with the Chargers drop back in a 7-step drop. Everything was off the run. If they were taking a long, deep drop, they were doing 6 and 7 man protections off of play action. And then they got the ball out really, really quick. When they were spreading people out, the ball wasn't in his hands past a 3-step drop. I mean, before you knew it, he had the ball in shotgun, boom, ball's out. Then you go and watch Justin Fields in that Chicago game, and they didn't do anything to protect him. So when I'm watching Justin Herbert play, I'm seeing a really, really good job. And he's not even that young anymore. I mean, Justin Fields is young. Justin Fields is in game 1. Herbert's in year 2, and they're still doing a really good job in LA at protecting him. Lots of long play action. They're running the ball effectively. They're throwing screens, and then they're getting in the quick game and getting the ball out of his hands. So I really like the way they're moving the pocket and adjusting the game plan to protect Justin Herbert, and vice versa. I don't like what they're doing in Chicago with Justin Fields. I mean, when he's dropping back by formation alone. So you're seeing defensive line pin their ears back and come after him.
Okay, but Carson, you're saying this. You're not even there. It feels like, how does Matt Nagy – it felt like it was irresponsible what the Bears did to Justin Fields.
Yeah, at the same time, though, I will say Justin Fields and the Chicago Bears don't have anybody that can win one-on-one outside. And so if you put Andy Dalton in that same situation, you don't have the ability for Andy Dalton to make something out of nothing like Justin Fields can. So they're in a tough spot in Chicago because they just don't have any winners on the outside. They don't have a true number one receiver that can just flat out win for you. So they got to get creative. And then they also have to account for the quarterback making something out of nothing, 3, 4, 5 third downs a game where they can do it with their legs. And Andy Dalton doesn't have that ability, but Justin Fields gives them that ability.
Are you all in on the Raiders?
I like them. I'll tell you what I like. I like two things. I'm not all in on the Raiders until they get to week 15, 16, 17. I'll tell you what I like, though. I really like that defensive front. That defensive front is stout. That defensive front can get after the passer a little bit. They don't have a true pass rusher. They got rid of Khalil Mack, obviously, but they got a lot of guys. They platoon in a lot of stout, salty defensive linemen. So they can stop the pass. They can stop the run. They can get after the passer. But the other thing I really like about them is Derek Carr is playing with a true toughness and a true grit that I really hadn't seen. And I don't think Gruden had seen it before, but you watch these last 2-3 weeks of watching him play. He's stepping into throws, taking one in the face. He's moving around the pocket late. He's not giving up and throwing the ball away. He's not getting in 2-minute situations and throwing the quick drag to get the ball out of bounds all the time. He's holding the ball in the pocket. He's taking hits and he's delivering it accurately down the field. And I hadn't seen that out of Derek Carr yet. So I'm really surprised and proud of the way he stepped in the pocket and played with a lot of grit.
You still have your Raiders jersey?
I do not. I do not have a Raiders jersey. My kids do though. My kids still wear a number 3 Raiders jersey.
Yeah, but you don't have your Raider jersey.
I don't think. Do you have that?
You only gave me
my jersey
no, no. Do you have any memorabilia up in your house?
No, I've got pictures of my kids. I've got kids' toys. Yeah, no memorabilia.
No jerseys.
In the house.
No jerseys up.
No jerseys. No jerseys.
Damn.
So disappointing.
No, it's just surprising. I guess I didn't know if you had a room, and like your kids are old enough to know that Dad played in the NFL, but you don't take a trip. You don't strike me as taking a trip down memory lane.
We don't take a lot of trips down memory lane. But let me ask you this: how many bobbleheads do you have of yourself in your office right there?
A few of them.
Okay.
Yeah. I love me, Carson. I mean, I love taking a trip down memory lane. Let me tell you about the days at Sports Center, yeah. So, well, if you have any jerseys that you don't want up, but you want me to put them up in the man cave, then I'll be more than happy to. I got Barry Sanders there, Dan Marino there, Favre there, Tom Brady there, Reggie Miller, Adam Sandler from The Longest Yard. So there's
all this run around, and all you had to do is ask me for a jersey. You don't have to go around the room and talk like.
My bad.
Just ask. Well, just ask, Dan.
Okay. If you got a jersey and you want to donate it to the man cave, would love to.
I'll send you a jersey.
That'd be great. All right.
Tell Fritz it's coming his way.
You know what? I'll get the FedEx number and send it to you.
There you go.
All right. Thank you. Hey, great to talk to you, buddy.
Thanks, Dan.
That's Carson Palmer. I love that an analysis where you're saying to these rookie quarterbacks, hey, whatever you do, do not watch Aaron Rodgers.